Candi Gauff gives daughter a powerful message. Those who ever look down on my daughter. The world knows Coco Gauff as a fiery, fearless tennis prodigy who conquered the courts with her thunderous backhands and heart of gold. But behind that poise and power stands someone quieter, yet equally unbreakable. Candi Gauff, a mother whose voice carried her daughter through storms that could have broken even the strongest spirits. In public, Candi is gentle, but in private, she's a fortress, one built on love, faith, and the fierce belief that her daughter's worth could never be measured by rankings, trophies, or the opinions of doubters. And so, when Coco's latest triumph set the sports world ablaze once again, Candi Gauff didn't talk about numbers or stats. She wrote something far more powerful, a message that was both a declaration and a promise. Those who ever look down on my daughter will soon look up to her. The early doubts. Before there were cameras, fans, or Nike endorsements, there was just a young girl hitting tennis balls under the scorching Florida sun. Coco Gauff was barely 7 when she first picked up a racket with hands that trembled more from excitement than skill. The other parents at the local courts whispered, "She's talented, but small. She's fast, but is she strong enough? Her family is not from a tennis background. How far can they really go?" Candi would smile politely, her lips hiding what her heart refused to believe, that her daughter couldn't. When other children left after an hour of practice, Coco stayed, sweat dripping, sneakers squeaking, her forehand echoing through the humid air long after the sun sank. And Candi stood by, towel in hand, watching, believing, praying. What the world didn't see was that belief became the soil in which Coco's courage grew. Each night, after practice, Candi whispered the same words to her daughter. "They may not see it yet, baby girl, but I do. I see greatness blooming inside you." Wimbledon. A 15-year-old Coco Gauff walked into tennis history. Her opponent, Venus Williams, one of her idols and a legend twice her age. When the final point landed and the scoreboard flashed 6-4, the world gasped. A child had just defeated her hero, not with arrogance, but with awe and respect. Candi was in the stands, tears tracing down her face. Her hands trembled not from shock, but from an overwhelming sense of déjà vu. The moment she'd seen so many times in her dreams. Reporters rushed. Headlines screamed. Sponsors called. But amidst the frenzy, Candi remembered the whispers from years ago. She's good, but this will be her only big win. And yet, here she was, her daughter's name now carved into the global tennis consciousness. That night, Candi posted a single sentence on her private family chat. "Those who ever look down on my daughter, may they learn what faith and fire can do. The burden of stardom. Success can be as heavy as failure." After Wimbledon, the world watched Coco with eyes sharper than ever, every move analyzed, every loss magnified. When she stumbled, critics pounced. She's too emotional. She's overhyped. She'll never be consistent. Social media buzzed with judgment, and Coco, still a teenager, felt the pressure seep into her skin. There were nights she cried quietly, scrolling through comments that questioned her worth. Candi found her one evening sitting in the dark, phone face down, racket untouched. "Mom," Coco whispered, "why do people hate me for just trying my best?" Candi knelt beside her, cupping her daughter's chin. "Because light makes some people uncomfortable," she said softly. "But remember, the sun doesn't ask permission to shine." That night, Candi wrote a letter, one she never shared until years later. "My dearest Coco, when they doubt you, don't fight back with words. Fight back with work. When they laugh, let your silence echo louder than their noise. And one day, they'll realize they were looking down only because you were meant to rise above them." Lessons from loss. Every athlete learns that success doesn't grow in a straight line. It twists, dips, and sometimes crashes. Coco's slump in 2022 was one of those dark valleys. Early exits, injuries, a nagging sense that she'd lost her rhythm. Critics resurfaced, claiming her moment was over. Trolls online mocked her rankings. Even some journalists questioned if she'd peaked too soon. But Candi never wavered. She became her daughter's mirror, reflecting back the light Coco couldn't see in herself. On one rainy afternoon, after a tough loss in Madrid, Coco buried her face in her towel, fighting tears. Candi wrapped an arm around her shoulder. "Do you know what happens when you plant a seed?" she asked. Coco shook her head. "It disappears for a while," Candi said, "because it's growing roots where no one can see. You're not losing, baby, you're rooting." Those words became Coco's anchor, a quiet mantra that turned her pain into purpose. The rise again. The U.S. Open. New York roar with anticipation. Coco entered as a favorite, but not without doubts still lingering in her mind. Every swing, every rally, carried the ghosts of past heartbreaks. Candi sat courtside, her gaze unflinching. She didn't shout, didn't flinch, just watched, calm and proud, as her daughter battled. And when Coco clinched the final point to become the youngest American to win the U.S. Open since Serena Williams, the dam of emotion broke. Tears streamed down both their faces. In the victory speech, Coco turned to the stands, voice trembling. "My mom, she believed in me even when I didn't. She told me God wouldn't put a dream in my heart if it wasn't meant to come true." The camera caught Candi mouthing the words back, "I love you, baby." Later that night, Candi shared a message that spread across the internet like wildfire. "To those who ever looked down on my daughter, thank you. You were the wind she needed to learn how to fly." The power of a mother's faith. Behind every serve and sprint, there was always more than just training. Candi had built not just an athlete, but a woman of character. She taught Coco to say thank you after wins, and I'll do better after losses. To remember that fame was fleeting, but kindness eternal. When young fans lined up for autographs, Coco took time, not out of obligation, but because her mother once said, "Every signature you give is a spark of hope for someone else's dream." That was Candi's magic, transforming lessons into legacies. The legacy continues. Years from now, when tennis historians write about Coco Gauff, they'll mention the titles, the trophies, the records. But somewhere in the quiet chapters, they'll also write about a mother's faith. Because behind every champion, there's a voice whispering, "You are more than they say you are." And when the world finally looks up, it won't just be at Coco's victory, but at the shared triumph of every parent and child who dare to believe in each other. Epilogue, the final words. At a charity gala one evening, a reporter asked Candi what message she wanted to leave the next generation of dreamers. She smiled, her eyes reflecting years of patience, prayer, and pride. "Tell them this," she said. "People will doubt you, mock you, overlook you. But if you hold your ground with grace, one day they'll remember the moment they looked down on you, because it'll be the same moment they realize they should have been looking up." Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share. Till next time.